How's it going, everyone? Scott McKay here, Airbrush Down Dirty Tricks. Welcome to another Thursday night. Sorry I missed last week, but making up for this week with a very challenging piece.
How's it going, everyone?
And I got my volume on this other thing. I gotta shut that down. All right, there we go. Too much stuff going on tonight. Last minute on everything. All right. How's it going, everyone? Can we hear me? Can we see me? Let's look at everything and see what we got here. Looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. Let's see what we got. We have lots of Star Wars. Mr. Leahy's in the house. Great subject considering the Book of Boba episode. Yep, Zed. Yeah, that's exactly what. So, for those who you don't remember, if you don't remember, two weeks ago, last feed, we did a poll on which should we do, Octopus, this, that, and one was Star Wars / Marvel. And so last week I had so much going on I couldn't get to do anything, but this week I decided, we're definitely going for it. And Star Wars was the one that won out over everything else. So up until yesterday, I still really had no idea that I watched yesterday's episode. And for those who are really into Star Wars and geek out like me, this was a real huge, basically unveil. So this is Cad Bane. Cad Bane is basically a bounty hunter in the Star Wars series that came out in the cartoons. It was the Clone Wars cartoons, right? Yeah, Clone Wars was the first cartoon it came out on. And it's a really cool character, very like Clint Eastwood, very, gunslinger, bounty hunter, cool guy. And then yesterday they released a live action for the first time. And I like the way it looks. It looks awesome. But because it's practical versus, cartoon, they couldn't exaggerate him as much as they did in the cartoon. Like the hat in the cartoon is super big, the face is really long. So what I did with this one is, if you saw my little ad earlier, I took a bunch of screenshots of it and I manipulated his face longer. I changed the mouth around, put the toothpick in his mouth, which they didn't do in the episode, but it was big in the cartoon. And then I made the brim of the hat really, really big, and kind of tweaked it and just kind of made it look more cartoon exaggerated. So this is kind of a mix fan art kind of compilation thing of like, if you could pull off real with the same exaggerated features, this is kind of how it would look. And then I superimposed like another silhouette of him in the background. So yeah, it's coming along. It's going to be cool. So what I've done, I'm going to go over the feed here. I'm going to bring up the reference image. Kelly, can you bring up the reference image? Oh, I can do it from here.
It was moved. Everything was moved around. There we go. It is there.
Oh, you got to key it on, please.
Oh, I need to hit that.
There we go. So that's our reference image down the bottom. So that's what we'll be working with, and this is here. So we got, that's a nice t-shirt. You got, who did it? Some idiot did it. I don't know, some ass.
Who?
No, it's the pirate skull.
Oh.
The pirate skull. I should make these shirts up and put them on the store. Just kind of an idiot. This was kind of
I would get one.
this was a test run, and it worked out pretty good. So maybe I will do that. Let's see. Okay, So what I did in this image, like I said, I manipulated it, moved it around, and printed it out to size. This is an 11 by 17 panel with a like 3/4 inch border. And then I put paper. Basically, I took really soft lead pencil, one of those all lead pencils, and I just scribed the whole back with it. And just made transfer paper, basically. I prefer this on like a light color panel as opposed to the Sorel paper. The issue with the Sorel, it leaves almost too much of an impression behind. This doesn't leave as much, so I don't know if you might not even be able to see it here. Let me switch cameras up. I think you can see a little bit better in this camera. Yeah, so you can see the lines pretty good here. And but they're just not like overpowering. The Sorel tends to overpower it a little bit. And then I have the silhouette. I didn't pencil these guys in. Let me grab a pen. So whenever I do this, I just purchased Park Graphics set. They're awesome. Oh, Brian, appreciate that, man. Yeah, thank you. They're a great set. I wonder how much this one will go for. Who knows? Who knows? So basically what I did, just take a pen. I don't typically use pencils because pencils get wider the more they wear down. Pens stay consistent, so you get a much more consistent trace, basically transfer. And I'm just going to represent where this is. This will mostly be paper cut, but there'll be a lot of freehand mix because I'm going to keep this thing pretty loose. I want this to be kind of gritty, loose, almost like an old black and white Western photo. Kind of keep that feel of what's actually happening in this scene. Like I said, I don't want it to be superimposing. Yeah, the white Sorrel is not as bad. And I usually kind of take my Sorrel and like rub it, kind of scratch off a kind of a layer first, but I rub it on the edge of the table because it's just a little too much. But Sorrel works great. I love it. I just have to take some of the excess off because it leaves so much behind sometimes, especially when it's like a brand new out of the gate. So I should try to do, eventually I'll do like some Photoshop tutorials on how I manipulate some of these images and just come up with it. You know, mixing photos together, kind of, you know, merging them and tweaking them and just making them work. So I'm gonna pull this guy off here. And what I did, I cut extra because I want his hat to go up around the border. So the hat's gonna go, kind of give it that three-dimensional feel. So I'm gonna let the hat go right up through there. Let's see. What how much is it going? Just what's wrong? Cool. Got a few people on Facebook side. Just, you know, all you guys on Facebook know if you click on the link. I'm not sure if I posted a link in there. If you did for YouTube, for Facebook to get over YouTube.
I did.
Okay, so if you want to see the higher quality feed with all the reference images and stuff like that, multi-camera angles, you gotta click on that link and get over to Facebook. And if you want to comment, you actually have to.
There's no link in the description of the live, but there is a link in the comments.
Yeah, so it's pinned to the. You pin it.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's pinned to the top, and that's going to give you access to see everything here. So color-wise, what I've done, and these are in my nice little Vision Air holder here. So I got the paint holder here at the side. That's nice because you keep all your stuff right there, a little reducer. So all the colors I've used, I've done mixtures of the two here. I don't have the Eclipse Takumi, but I've used it, and I have the regular Micron Takumi, but the Eclipse Takumi is awesome. So colors I'm using Illustration Sepia 5063. I'm using Illustration Black 5051, and Wicked Opaque Cream 089. And I've done some mixtures of these. So I have the Sepia Straight. That's going to be my first tone color. Then I made a darker version of the sepia by adding black to it. Then I made a light sepia by doing a mix of... So I did a mix of... basically, I did the opaque white and the sepia together. Which is kind of like, you know, like a cream brown color. That's going to be like my mid-tone light color. And then I took the white, that cream color, and just a few drops of the sepia in it, just so it's not pure white. And that's going to be like any highlight color that I don't do erasing. Okay, so so far it's nice when it actually shoots paint. Give me a buzz, man. I can help you kind of with that. Paint consistency is always the big key. Alright, so what I'm going to do is what I typically do. I'm going to do my spray outs here, kind of make sure we got things going. So my little airbrush widget. And they actually got a new one for the Vision Air that mounts directly to it. I got to get me one of them. Or I got to figure out how to mount this one, because this is the old aluminum one. So these are the colors. So this is kind of the sepia. That's going to be the majority of it. What's up, Route 22 Total Customs? This is the darker version, which in hindsight, I think I'm going to add a little bit more black to it as I go, but you can see it's definitely darker. And then this is kind of that cream color. And that's nice because it's opaque, so it'll actually go over. And then I got my highlight color here, which is near white, but it's not pure white. But you can see it does a really nice transition right over those colors and shows up. And actually it looks like white, but it's not white. That's the key. It's the, pure white would be too harsh. Like that looks like it's pure white if you look on the top, but it's nowhere near it. It's pretty, it's pretty dark actually. So my thoughts on the Takumi is I love it. I use the Eclipse when I was on the coast. Didn't have any at the time. But Eclipses have always been a great brush overall. And the balance of that trigger, having the trigger and the just the different body length and the way it moves, it works really awesome. Okay. Let's see if we can pull this one off. This might be getting a little ambitious, but I've done it before. So what I did, this is the first stage. I did a paper cut, as I often do for things like that. This is going to register in a lot of my minor details and just kind of blocking. We'll call it blocking. And what I do to the photo, this is a great trick. So, you might want to note this down. So, basically, this is the reference image, which, see, this is nice and shaded. And this is kind of where I ended up. What I do with this image, then I go in on Photoshop and I do a edit called Posterize, which is, I'll have to look it up. It's like a file edit. It's in it. Oh, you go to Adjustments, Image, Adjustments, Posterize. Posterize is, it blocks it down to as many colors as you tell it to, like 4 colors, 6 colors, 2 colors, things like that. So, see how it's all blocky? It's that same image, and it just takes everything and kind of blocks it out. So you get kind of your 3 gradations. I usually do like a 4 or 6 color pass, and it just helps kind of simplify the image, per se. And just helps you kind of block out some of the big stuff. And I think we're good. I think we're kind of lined up on everything. Yeah, it looks pretty good. All right. How many levels posterize you jump? It depends on the image. I usually start with 3 or 4. That's kind of where I like to, but then I'll adjust. I think this one ended up at 6 because 4 it was like this was all black. Yeah, this was all black over here. But 6 was nice. It just transitioned. So it really depends. So I usually stick around that range. So I'm going to start with this guy here. And this is the lighter color. Yep. It's all pretty dark. And I'm not going to saturate it 100%, but I'm just going to register him in there. See that? Just register him in. He can go pretty dark, and there's going to be some darker stuff here. And I'm not going to flood these in. I'm just going to softly put some of this in here. Because I want to build up to it. Like, I ran it on time. Usually I'd have a lot of this pre-cut even more by now, but I was running right up against the clock trying to get this done and get this feed underway. So we're kind of doing nothing but net. We'll just work through it and see how we do. Maybe it'll be like Craig Frazier's This May End Badly. We never know. Never know. See, I just kind of use that to block in, basically where some of the major structure goes, and it's lined up pretty well. Let me show you what I'm going to do with this guy here. Let's do a little bit more cutting. I'm going to bring this down. Bring down the cutting mat here. And I'm actually going to cut the rest of him out. And you'll see, because I did this in 2 steps, the next pass will make everything darker. So we're just going to do that and see what we got going on here. I'm going to line him up. And just kind of put that back in. We'll tone everything in. And now he's kind of shaded a little bit more the way he should be. But like I said, it's going to leave a lot for freehand. So I'm going to come in and do a lot of this, all this little detail freehand. I want this pretty soft, but it's just, we'll get that registration in and soften it up. I'll zoom in on him in a little bit. We'll do the same thing for the hat. You know, this is like in Photoshop, it's called destructive editing. Basically, is when you don't have like layers saved and you just keep basically destroying the reference image until it's gone. That's what I'm going to do here. But I have other ones I can use. Yep, just a cutting mat. Put on top of the fan on go. You know, or have it off to the side. I mean, normally I do it off to the side. Just I'm doing this on camera, so I want to make sure you guys can see everything, and I don't want to keep moving cameras all over the place. I'm just going to tone that in. Like I said, I'm going to do a lot of this freehand. What compressor you're running? If possible, flash the camera to it real quick. No, I can't flash the camera. Cameras are all fixed. Compressor's actually about 10 feet away from me. I'm using Iwata Smart Jet Pro, which is, you know, their Studio series, Smart Jet Pro series compressors. Really nice little units. You know, fairly quiet. And perfect for, you know, airbrushing illustrations. You could get away with some t-shirt work with it, but you're not going to get that high power, like 60 consistent PSI. You're going to run around like 50 something PSI, and that's about where you're going to cap off. But if you're doing like t-shirts, not high production, like if you're not in a mall setting or something, or like a fair, you'll get away with doing t-shirts and things like that. It's a great little unit. And I've had this one going on probably 6 or 8 years. And it's just an absolute workhorse. I'm just going to block in like large areas and kind of see where we end up. So I say he don't run no junk. I've had my share of running junk, and you know, sometimes it works and you get through it. My first few years of painting was a 25-gallon Sears Craftsman loud ass compressor, and just, you know, basically that's what I got. I made it work. As long as it's pushing air, I'm gonna make it work. London Pen Company. What's going, man? Yeah, man, you gotta get what works. Look, I did show quality paint jobs when I started out with, Husky spray guns from Home Depot and things like that. And so I'm very familiar with using them. And as I've, switched over the years up into like using the next Iwatas, and before that I was using DeVilbiss and some Satas and stuff like that. You'll start to notice the benefit of those more expensive guns, and yes, they are more expensive, and they are more expensive for a reason. Because when you actually start using them, they're more efficient, they're more predictable, they spray better. There's always debates on use this, use that, and whenever we're saying use this, use that, none of us are saying you can't do a job with that. But with like the cheaper Harbor Freight stuff like that, just you recognize that it's not the most efficient brush to use or spray gun. It'll get the job done, but it's eventually you're gonna want to get something a little bit more reliable or a little bit more conditioned for what you want to do. It just makes your life easier. It starts to save you money per job and things like that. Thank you very much, Kyle. That is much appreciated, sir. Helps keep these feeds running. Like we talk about it every week, these feeds, are 2 hours or roughly, but they definitely don't take 2 hours. Yeah, man, Zed, he was awesome in the cartoon. That's why what I wanted to do with this one, I kind of, I wanted to do those tweaks and kind of get it to a similar. Thank you, Blue. You guys are killing it tonight. Thank you very much. For those super chats, for those you don't know, super chats are like other programs have tips jars or things like that, and like coins and stars, and it helps keep things running around here. It definitely helps keep things running. Let's see here. I gotta change something. I'm gonna tweak something quick. Let's see if I can widen this out here. No, that's a little bigger. Aha. Make this a little bigger here.
Did you read Carl Becker's question? You did not, right?
Which was that?
Are the cheap miniguns adequate if you're just using it to clear every now and then?
It's one of those things. Every now and again, it'll get you by. It'll do the job. It's, you think about this. The cheap guns will lay clear. Their efficiency, however, probably means about 20 to 30% of the clear you're using is just going in the air and not going on the surface because they're not efficient. So that's one of the things to consider. So yes, we'll get the job done. Absolutely. You'll probably waste 20 to 30% of the clear. So if you're spraying a gallon of clear at $200 a gallon, 30% wasted in the air is $60. So is that saving, say, $200 on a gun over the course of 3 or 4 jobs worth it? Probably not. But will it get you by? Absolutely. Sorry for all this jumping around here. I didn't realize we were cut off on a lot of that. There you go. Oh, technology. Let's bring up that reference image so we can see what we're working at here. There we go. All right. Did I answer your question, Carl? I mean, yeah, I said they work. They'll get the job done. I did it. You just might have to spend more time polishing. You know, because they might not be as efficient. They'll lay down a lot more orange peel. Will they work? Heck yeah. Like I said, they'll do it. Cool. Glad that helped. Like I said, they all work. And like when we say, oh, those guns are horrible, blah, 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 you know, things like that. And some guys will be pretty blatant about it. And I try not to be. Sometimes I might come across like that. Depends on the day. But, yeah, it's just, you know, do they work? Yes. Are they efficient? No. But what I've always said, and I've talked about this with plotters and everything else, is get the best you can afford. If all you can afford is a Harbor Freight to get the job done, then that's it. I think you got school canceled tomorrow.
Oh, or delayed.
Or delayed. I'm not listening.
We're getting a bad sleet storm up here.
Yeah,
so.
we're about to get a big sleet storm.
This morning our bus driver was like, if there is school tomorrow, I need you guys to like go deep into the road next to us because she was
in case she can't stop
about sliding.
Yeah. Actually, I had that happen when I was a kid. We were on a bus and had one of these big ice storms.
I was on a bus when it slid. It was terrifying.
And the whole thing just kept sliding down the street. How do you all find inspiration in what you paint? Oh, inspiration can be tough, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, it's definitely a difference between, for me anyway, am I painting for me, am I painting for a client? If I'm painting for a client, it's a different inspiration set. You, as a professional, you can't wait for the inspiration to paint. You have to do the job. It's your job. So, you have to make yourself do it. For me. And, you know, you just try to make sure you clear everything out. You know, get as much out of your way so you can do it effectively. But as far as inspiration, you know, if I'm trying to, like, figure something to paint, I watch a lot of, you know, sci-fi stuff. Because I like, you know, a lot of, like, fantasy stuff. Because I do a lot of, like, demonic stuff and skulls and things. I'll watch a lot of things like that. And I'll get inspired by what I see and seeing what other people are painting. That's what works for me. Is it for a job? The deadline is X. You got to get it done by X. So you might not feel like painting that day. But guess what? Your ass is painting that day. Because that is the job.
Yeah, no school tomorrow. Mom just texted me.
So Kaylee just got great news. She has no school tomorrow.
Which is great because I was going to have a vocab test tomorrow.
Guys, remember that feeling when you were kids? Of getting snow days? But see, when we had to do it, what do we have to do? We had to listen to the radio or watch the TV for the scrolling line the whole time.
I remember the scrolling line in Amesbury all the time.
Yeah. Now we get text messages and phone calls direct. We didn't get any of that.
That's the only thing that they're actually good at communication with, in all honesty, at my school.
This is true.
My school has some of the worst communication with their students and their parents. It's, like, sad. I didn't, like, one of my teachers wasn't there, and none of us were told that she wasn't there until we got to the middle school and realized we had to walk all the way back.
Oh, yeah, because she has to go from school to school. Yes, the TV ticker. That's right up there with getting the movie times. You had to call the theater and listen to, in Theater 1, Jaws playing at 1:30, 3:30, 4:30, 6. You have to go through all the movies. In this piece, I really wanted to do it regardless if I can finish it tonight. If I don't finish tonight, I don't really care because this is just going to be a really bitchin' piece. And maybe I'll do a two-parter on this. Because I'm determining how real I want to get it. Like how What am I trying to say? Like, just if I gotta get it super detailed, or just, you know, kind of make it simple and cool. How close to like realism do I want? How much stylization do I want to do? Things like that. The cool thing is, I wish I could actually point you to it. I can't. I don't think my. Let me see if my GoPro syncs up. Nope. I was trying to get a fourth camera and I could show you. I just got the new stencil. I mean, the reference holder and the iPad holder, which actually holds my Surface Pro perfectly, which is an older computer I have. So, which is great because now I can have a computer right off to my left side. Gary, what's going on? Kelly side of Gary.
Hi.
Yeah, if you grew up in Buffalo, New York, you definitely know what snow days were. See, I had to wait by us in the snowbank. Yeah, yep. To see if it showed up and then walk home. Yeah, I did that too. I remember those. Oh well. Just trying to get that other image up. That ain't working. So, you know, I'm just getting that mid-tone blocking in right now. And looking at my reference image, which you can see off to the, you know, you can see it, I can't see that. I don't have it actually floating here. I have this big image, which I gotta try to, there we go, I'm gonna put that right up there. That's right to my right now. So now I can kind of see. Need a little more reducer. Like I said, if I don't finish this tonight, I don't care. I'm going to paint for a couple hours, hang out. Feel free to talk all things Star Wars, Boba Fett. Is that straight sepia? Yes, right now this is straight sepia. I didn't do anything to it. I have no power, no running water, and an ice storm will continue until 7 a.m. tomorrow. Oh, Michelle. So sorry. I feel your pain. I've been through it. But yeah, so, and the thing is, we've been raining all day today, which is what that's going to do is, at some point tonight, it's going to freeze up, and all that water on the road is going to freeze, and it's going to be a damn nightmare tomorrow. Here we go. The reducer just went through. See how long that took from the time I reduced it? You gotta let it work its way through. Now I'm getting that flow I want. This is all kind of going to be secondary stuff, but I'm just kind of easing my way in, blocking my way into this job. And I'm trying to keep any stencil use or anything like hard edge out of it at this point. And we'll just, I can tighten up as I go. I want to keep it loose. Like I said, I want this to have like that, Old West kind of sepia photo. So I want it to be a little foggy and blurry, and I think at the end I'll probably blow some texture on it and make it look like a little worn out. And how do you feel about the Power Rangers scooter crew? I thought those were cool, man. I liked it. Because it's I forget the name of the movie in the actual like scooter gang in UK that they kind of based it off of. It was kind of a cool little tribute. And just a cool thing. I thought they looked a little plasticky, but so like when it comes to like movies and stuff like that, even when I know it's kind of meh, I just let myself enjoy the fact that it's something damn cool on screen. I don't really. So many people get offended when they made this look a little. It didn't live up to this. And who gives a shit? As long as it, they kind of stayed true to it and, didn't like butcher it. When they butcher it, then maybe I get a little whatever with it. But I thought overall it was fun. I knew what they were trying to do. I hope you have some kind of heat source. Oh yeah. When you grow up in places like Rochelle and how we grew up and it's definitely not our first rodeo when it comes to these things, and we adapt pretty quick. That's why we all laugh at people in warm climates when they get some snow and rain and it's like Armageddon.
It's gonna get to the 20s in Houston.
Yeah, so my friend Mike, who normally lives in Dominican Republic but also has a house in Texas, decided to come home this week. He came home, it was like 67, then the next day it snowed. Gary, yes, so this is Cad Bane. This is the character from originally Clone Wars, the cartoon, yesterday on Book of Boba Fett. This was the first appearance of him. So, because the poll, everyone wanted Star Wars won the poll last week. I decided this morning I was going to do this because the episode just aired yesterday. So, I just went for it. So I think I finished up polishing a bike this afternoon. Customer came and picked it up. Darrow had assisted and got the clear done and most of the polish. I gave it a once over when I got it. So I finished that around 2 o'clock. Took a break and started drawing this thing up and planning this job. So this whole thing started planning at 4 o'clock, I think, pretty much. So a little video on how I composited everything together. That was all done then. Let me switch out here, maybe, so you can see, see how I'm blocking it in. I'm still kind of keeping it soft, but a lot of freehand. And I'm definitely going to come in with some racing and scratching techniques. And I could go like super realistic and make things super sharp, but I'm going to keep it somewhat loose. I'm definitely going to come in and we'll like do some of the highlights with the definitely do some of that. We'll save a lot of this for the face, or if I want to like highlight right here. Little things like that. Dirty Harry of Outer Space. Yeah, he's definitely got the Pale Rider kind of feel going, without a doubt. And I think they basically, the scene, I think of Stranger in a Strange Land, was that it? On YouTube today, they took, I forget which Western they did, They synced up the same gunfight scene from that old Western to this. And it synced up, like, spot on beautiful.
That's crazy.
Really, really cool. Nothing going all H or Giger on it. Yeah, this, keep it loose, man. Yeah, if you ever watch Giger paint, holy shit. Just loose, loose, loose. I want to get this brim really dark. Any bids? There's been no bids on this one. Honestly, I'm not even sure I'm going to be able to finish this one tonight. This is definitely... This might be a long one. So this needle right now, this is the Takumi, which is a 0.18. Which for what I'm doing right now, I really don't need something that small, because I'm just really blocking in. But it's just what I set up. Oh, that's a pretty solid bid. Thank you, sir. Oh, you got the Loki piece too, so you're in the same mindset of I am. I depending on the week, it's either, typically for me, it's either a Marvel week, where I have like Marvel play in the background of my day, or I have Star Wars stuff playing, or something along those lines is my typical MO. No school tomorrow like in a long time. Yeah, I've never gone... I mean, I've done a little over 2 hours, but I don't know if YouTube kicks you. Facebook would kick you, I think, after 2 hours. That's why we all kind of...
You can do 24-hour streams on YouTube.
I don't think I'll be doing 24 hours.
Actually, no. There's a stream that's been that literally went on, never stopping, for 10 years or something like that.
Wow.
It was a... music. It was like it was a lo-fi music to study to live stream.
Oh, there was
going on forever.
This used to be
crashed one day.
It used to be on either YouTube or just internet. It was a live video feed of a gun. It basically said, if you ever see this gun move and kill anyone, let us know. It basically go, guns don't kill people, people do. It's like this gun never moved. It was just a live stream of the dangerous gun, 24 hours a day, 365 days a year.
I want to see how long. But yeah, it was one of the most popular things. Like I listened to it a few times, and then one day it crashed because there was like a YouTube blackout or something, and everyone went insane because it was the first time it had ever been out.
That's crazy.
It's still on YouTube. I can find how long it was.
Alright, so let's see here. I gotta get over to this guy. I really want to block in all these dark areas and kind of frame out things and frame out the background before I do the face. The face will be the last thing. Like I said, this might have to be a 2-part feed because we're almost an hour in. And if we do that, all bids will be held until like the final. Cool. Like that.
It lasted for 13,000 hours.
Wow, 13,000 hour feed. Yeah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, it happened in 2020 when it crashed. Everyone went crazy. I remember seeing it, like everyone freaking out about it.
That's funny. Yeah, that's 542 days.
Ah.
It's crazy. I'm not gonna do a feed that long. I'm gonna definitely tell you that. I love you all, but not that much. Just saying. Shouldn't say I'd never do it. There just have to be a lot of money in it. A lot of money. How often do you change your fisheye filters? It depends. On the ones here on in the studio, I'm only doing a couple hours at a time, so I may change them every couple months or so. The ones on my spray guns, I change. You know, if I'm doing a lot of painting on the spray guns, I'll change them every couple weeks. Or at least check them and see how they're doing. Block this out. Yeah, it was either this week or there was a. If you guys follow Sideshow Collectibles, it's like they make the most amazing, like basically sculptures, like comic book and sci-fi and like Marvel, you know, basically everything. The attention to detail is like second to none. It's amazing. They came out with this bitchin' Darth Vader one, and his like face is like the mask is half broken. And you can see Anakin's face through it, all burnt up, and that was almost gonna be the feed. I almost was gonna do something along those lines. Yeah, so the moisture trap that I want to comes with takes care of mostly everything. The fisheye filter just takes care of anything above what that won't get. So the big key for me why I use fisheye filter a lot is on my big compressors, or whereas I travel quite a bit and I work in shops that aren't my own. I don't trust people's shops that I've had too many problems. So when I go into a shop, this is when I go to a shop that I've never been to, it's a brand new fisheye filter that day. Like, I don't even mess around with something. You know, the nice thing about, yeah, Carl's right. The best thing about, like, a moisture trap will work to a certain point, then it'll eventually let moisture through. It gets oversaturated. The fisheye filter will catch 100% of contaminants and moisture, and what it'll do, your gun will stop spraying. You know, for those of you who don't know what we're talking about here, this is the fisheye filter, and it is not for cameras.
You're never gonna let me live that down, are you?
No, but other people thought the same. Other people thought the same thing. So this is fisheye filters. Fisheye Filter is one of our sponsors, so we definitely give them some love. So they have two different sizes. They have a little nano now, which goes in the airbrush here. So basically, and if you do a lot of outdoor events or shops, if anything get past your moisture trap, like on the compressor, and sometimes you have condensation that build up in airlines, you know, from overuse and things like that. So what that'll do is it'll start traveling through the line, or moisture gets to the line, and it's going to go into your rush. This will stop that. Same thing with spray guns. Spray guns will, I don't never say never, but, so I'll give you a couple stories. Me, Rhino, and Shorty, and Joelle, and Gary were up doing a 90-foot train in Michigan. Okay, so we're doing a 90-foot train in Michigan, and we have these two pressure pot systems, and this train yard with their spray booth had, you know, a compressor the size of a building with, like, basically a grain silo for an air tank. Okay, so that's the air source for this thing that's coming. So we hooked the pressure pots up, and I knew they had a lot of moisture in the lines because he said, "Oh yeah, you got to keep the tank cracked open so the moisture just drains out as you're painting." But they spray like nasty single stage stuff on trains. They don't care what it comes out like. It just has to look whatever. We got 5 feet down the line of pure spray, and the pressure pot shut off because we had fisheye filters on it. When I popped the fisheye filter out, water poured out of the fisheye filter, but nothing ever got through the line and into the paint job. So that's a testament to how well they work. Like, that was a lot of water, and it came right up to the compressor. It just stopped right up to the pressure pot, or like in most cases, I've had it happen with spray guns in shops. So right to the spray gun itself, air won't spray out of the gun anymore, and you pop that off, and literally water's pouring out of it. But basically save the paint job. So they definitely work really, really well. That's my PSA for fisheye filter. You're welcome, Ken. So I haven't checked in on Facebook. We only got like 4 people over there. If anyone needs anything, Daniel Power, what's going on, man? I don't know if you're still there. I just saw you on there. Larry LaRue, Josh Sweeney. If you guys are still on, man, click on that link. Get over, join the conversation over on YouTube, man. Much better over there, and I can see it better right in front of me. Is the Facebook one is, it doesn't auto scroll. Like, I have to manually scroll the phone, whereas YouTube just keeps showing me. Yeah, well, see, his is not desiccant. The fisheye filter is actually a patented proprietary filament. It's not desiccant. That's why it's different. So, you know, he's the only one, fisheye filter is the only one that has rights to that element in the way it works. That's what's so special about him. It's not like any other moisture filter, because no other moisture filter can have that technology in what they patented for it. That's what's so interesting about it. And it's a father-son company, you know. It's literally a grassroots company. You know, and it just can't. Did you project... Jeremy Fowler. What's going on, Jeremy? This tube's going to need some work. Yeah, Joe, if you're still getting humidity through it, if you put a fisheye filter in the end of your line, they're gonna work. They're really an amazing tool. Like I've you know, like if I'm using something talking about it, I don't. They're not paying me to do it. And like in all honesty, Ken is a sponsor, so they pay for the part of this feed and kind of help it go along. But I'm not bullshitting when it comes to that. It's just, they just work. I'm going to tighten that up later. Let's get this in here. I was saying that earlier, the filters, I don't change, on these compressors, I don't use them that often because I'm just doing the feeds of them, so they go quite a while. I check them every week or so on my larger spray guns. It just depends on the volume, and every month or two, you don't have to change the filter, there's just an element inside you can change. And sometimes you can get away with just letting the element kind of dry out a little bit for a while, and you'll get more time out of it. This is a pretty technical painting. I was a little worried about that coming into this one, that it might be, like I said, too much to do in a single feed, but this is looking more like a 3 to 4 hour piece. I think if I had another hour or so before the feed, I would have been able to cut some more layer stencils, like when I did the Jack Nicholson years back, and I could have got a lot more in. But let's see what we can do here. So I'm going to show you one nice thing about this desk setup, the way I have it rigged. I can just pick this whole thing up. I can just pick this whole, that's right here. I can pick this whole unit up and just move it. Hey, Taylor, do me a favor. Come here.
Oh, Jesus.
I need somebody to do some cutting. Just grab it and just put it on that table. Right there. Yep. Okay. See, so I just moved that whole unit. That's what's nice about that unit there. Now I can use this whole piece, and I'm going to do just a little extra cut. We'll get a little bit more detailed on this one. I want to kind of get the eyes where they are. See, so you're just cutting out, just blocking in the shapes. A piece of stencil you just used looks like a gremlin. Huh, yeah. You know, like I said, I could use this one here. Let me go use this one. See how this has got the, this has all the one I posterized. So I can kind of get a different, you know, shape everything out. But this is a really big block out. That's why I didn't really use this one too much, because I think it'll be, you know, almost a little overkill on that piece. So I'm going to spray it, but I'm going to spray very limited. Yeah, you know what? It's way too much. That's going to block out. If I spray that in, it's going to look like a cartoon. I don't want that. So I'm going to use this guy. I want to get his face in. And I want to block his whole silhouette. See your new bench set up the other day. Yeah, Ben, it's that. This Visionaire system is just so versatile. It's just really nice. It's just a nice system. And, you know, Dell, who designed it, is a painter as well. He understands what we do and what we need. And those guys make the best products, you know. So, you know, I love supporting it just because he really did an amazing job. And it's, you know, I said it the other day, it's basically a director set for airbrush artists and painters and modelers and things like that, because it does it does everything, you know. It really, really does. And if he doesn't have a jig that, you know, you're looking for, if you basically just buy components and rails and pieces, you can build whatever you want. Yopo synthetic paper. I have not used it, so I don't have any thoughts on that. I've used Drew Blair's paper, and it's great. But I have not used the other one, so I couldn't give you an actual comparison. Quite honestly, I don't paint on paper a lot, so I'm definitely far from an expert. You know, if you want to get into a good debate, get Rod Fuchs and Steve Leahy in a room and ask them their preferred paper. What did you miss? I finished. Blue, it's done. You missed the whole painting. It's over. No, I'm kidding. I'm just showing people a little bit more how to cut the stencils we need to finish this job off, or get as close as we can tonight. Definitely not going to be a finish, but we were talking about fisheye filters. We were talking about you. But no one's going to say anything now because you're here. Shh. You know, if you see me do the skull stencils ones, these are, same process. I'm just picking off the darkest details when I get those roughed in here. And this will help kind of shape everything. And if I don't finish this tonight, I'll set a feed up before next week to finish it. And I'll keep you all posted when that's going to be. And I really don't see me finishing this in 40 minutes or a little long. I mean, if I'm close, I'll stay on. But if I have another hour or two, I don't have that in me tonight. Sorry. Another good way, if you're doing like, see all this here? Where it's all like little pick marks that form a shadow. I have a bunch of clay board, and I haven't messed with it, Steve. What I like to do with this is just, as the blade's getting older, you can just, I learned this from, it's picking. I learned this technique from Corey St. Clair. To just, he call it cactus cutting, and it's like like a cactus. You just keep picking at it, and the nice thing is you can follow that kind of shape, especially with these lines. Try not to pull those off like that, and you can create some nice shading and registration. Basically, before you start, so you're not having all these blocks everywhere. So like where these lips kind of curl, if I cut this big block out, it's going to be really, it's just not going to be. It's going to be hard to get rid of because it's going to be such a square, like just a shape. But by doing this, it just gives you just a little bit of registration. And you'll see what happens when I do this. And you can do like straight cuts too, just kind of pick things out. Because like I said, they just it's just for registration, so you don't want too much. DIY texture stencils. Yeah, exactly. Alright, let me see if I can get this back over here. Kelly, need your help again? Let's put this easel back. Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, put this right back into position. Look at that. Right back where it belongs. Let's zoom back out here. Yeah, it leaves like a rough texture, but if you're not spraying a lot of paint through, it leaves like a nice soft texture. Which is really, really nice. So watch, now when I spray this through, I'll line this up where you need it. So I'm just going to spray a little in here because I don't want these hard shapes to like really show through at the end. But you'll see the difference here. They create just nice texture. So I can go in. This is really good if you're doing a racing technique because you can do that. You can blow some shading in like this. And then if you're doing skin texture, this is great because I'm just going to go in like this. I'm just going to bounce this off the... Basically, I'm just skipping along the surface. Let me see if I can zoom in on that. Yeah, so see now I'm getting a nice soft. So now I'm getting a nice soft skin texture over here. You know, as opposed to just a block out shape. Then you can go with a soft eraser. You can soften it all out. Now you just get that really cool kind of skin texture. This isn't the final, but gives you that nice kind of underpainting of skin. That if you go through here and do this all in here, so this, if you look at the photo reference, see all this little texture and grit in there? So it's nice. I can just go in here and kind of fade in some color and kind of soften where these wrinkles are going to be in the face. Michael, what's going on, bud? Let's see, so I can kind of start softening that edge so it gets rid of that stencil. And then a lot of times I'll start doing this. And see, it's just starting to soften the edge. So if I do a lot more of this all through here, it's just going to really make a really cool cool natural feel. The other thing you can do is you can use some texture effects, or one of the ones I like. I have it. Drew Blair has this nice micro dot stencil. This actually, like you can see right through it. This does a great job because I can actually do the wrinkles through the stencil. And see, it starts leaving that texture behind. And really starts to be cool looking. It's probably hard to see if you're not like on like an HD setting, but so it's really cool. You just keep kind of working it like this, and I'm really digging this piece overall, so this is going to turn into a take my time piece. So definitely a second feed for this one. I'll keep you all posted for it. Photo reference back up. Go here. Let's go back to camera 2. Cool. Yeah, you can kind of see everything happening. 2 stages. But now you're starting to get a feel for how it's blocking in. Depending, well, maybe I'll do a feat tomorrow night and finish it up if everyone's interested. I'll check with it. We'll check with the TV guide schedule and see who's on. I don't want to run over anyone. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Coming along. My stencil. Where did I put it? I cut it. Now I don't know where it went. Ah, here we go. Can't find the piece I cut for there. Oh well, we'll go without it. We'll move on to the rest of the piece. Kelly is on somewhere between 9 and 9:30 Eastern Standard tomorrow night, right? I think he was going on tonight too, but I don't think that's his normal. Thanks, Black Cloud, man. I really appreciate that. I try to give as much info out as I can and answer as many questions as possible and things we got going on. Speaking of things we got going on, we do have new dates. I don't have an image to go up, but we do have new dates for the Airbrush Art Circus. You know, originally we were supposed to have that in February. Sorry for anyone who had to reschedule. Just number of factors just made it not going to happen. So we moved that. That's going to be in first week of June. Is going to be the new date. And so AirBrushArtCircus.com has all the dates up already for the next class and when that's going to be. So I almost like took this, composition I did, and I was gonna go in and just ink it like and do comic style, and I really kept going. Now I really want to see this as like like a wanted poster type of thing, and get that Old West feel. So that's what I'm doing. But feel free to ask away, ask questions. Yeah, I think the best one I pulled off, which I didn't think was Jack Nicholson. That was half the size. I think that was the key to something this real, is to keep it smaller, because larger it just takes so much longer to get everything set up. That's why when you're doing like pricing on jobs, always figure. Sometimes we think we can do things way faster than we actually can. We price ourselves into the poorhouse because we think we're way better than we are. We're way faster. And that's fine to do once in a while on a job, but if you're consistently under figuring your times, like I can do that in 2 hours and it takes you 6, but you only bill 2 to a client, well, you just work for a third of your rate. So. Oh, yeah. When I was younger, and yeah, I thought that for a little bit, then, I went kind of down the deep rabbit hole of Star Wars and the lore and what that entails. Actually, I remember I didn't know much about it. I was working at NTW, a tire store, when I was a tire salesman. And one of the guys there was a super, like, Lord of the Rings, Star Wars nut. And Boba Fett came up and he started talking about all the lore and the planet and the race, and this was before, and because he was reading the books and the comics and all that, and it got really interesting. It was his fault. Are clients ever forgiving when to pay more? To a point. So, for me, like I have on my invoices, when I give them a price, it's not an invoice, it's an estimate of time. And it's usually a plus or minus. So I'll say this is going to be between. So the one I just did, it was going to be between $3,500 and $4,000 for the strip, the repaint, the graphics, the artwork, blah blah blah. In the end, it came like $4,400. Because the paint was a little bit more and a couple of things took a little longer. They were fine with that. It was within 10%, But if you hit someone with twice as much, they're not going to pay it, and they shouldn't, because you didn't qualify it. Tell them it was going to be close to that. You're way off your estimate. If you're in the middle of a job and things start getting, because remember, it's a blind item. You can't predict everything, especially like if you got a body work at something. So you estimate it. You get into the job, you start realizing pretty quick it's going to take longer. As soon as you know it's going to start taking a little longer, stop. Call the customer and say, hey, we're getting through this. This is taking much longer than we thought, because A, it's never been done before. So how do you want to proceed? We either have to kind of simplify some of the detail or back off some of the stuff. Or, prices have to go up a little bit, or where do you want to meet and come to a mutually beneficial agreement? Work with them, but don't, get yourself into the point where, you're taking all the loss to make their dream come true. If you promised it as like a definite, then that's on you. I always do it. It's an estimate. It's like, think about having an electrician come into your house. Have you ever had an electrician come into your house and give you a price when they walk in the door and then have to stick to it? I'll wait if anyone actually has had that happen. No, so yeah, you gotta be upfront, and you gotta qualify it, and you gotta make sure you dot your I's across your T's. And that's like, that's when you're talking production work. When it gets into like paintings and illustrations and things like that, sometimes you just have a set price, or what it's going to be, and you have to stick to it. Like when you deal with a commercial client, you did a PO, you did a budget, and they asked you for a firm price, then you're kind of stuck with it. So your only key at that point is work smarter and, kind of get through it.
What are you looking for?
I thought I had one of these papers already. This guy already cut out of it. Yeah, communication is key. Yeah, I learned that when I used to run Sears Automotive Centers and the tire stores and stuff. Half the problems happen when you didn't keep the customer abreast of the situation and the reality of things, and things happen, and sometimes you just have to eat it. But if you can avoid it, I found most customers, if you tell them early on enough and say, hey, this is going to be, I know we said this, but now that we're into it, we're seeing this, this, and that, and it's going to cost a little more, meet you halfway on it, they're usually fine. For the most part. Yeah, because I'm going to do all this mid-tone, and then a little dark, and then get some light. Yeah, this has got a lot of time left in it. Hey, I never guaranteed I'd finish every painting in 2 hours. I just try. I got a pretty good average, though. What I'm definitely going to do is I'm going to definitely fog a lot of this area and go through the eraser and really put a lot of tone and just like shape into this. And I keep thinking, I think I want to make the hat go all the way over here, and you just might see that corner of this border. I'm going to toy with that idea too. Quality is better than quantity. Yep, this is true. Yeah, that's different. They didn't actually fix it. But, you know, if they ask me to someone on the phone and come over and they find X, Y, Z, it's going to be more. And it should be. Starting to be a little more. So right now, if you can't tell, I'm just doing a bunch of little dots. You know, so when we're talking about daggers and dots, train yourself for this, because that's how I'm getting all that little texture as well. Actually, I forget. So, damn it, Troy. I can't think of Troy's last name on the top of my head. It just blanked. Worked with him at the Getaways. Like, you watch him paint, he paints like dots. There's another famous artist. If Leahy's still on here, he would know. He basically is like a human dot matrix printer. He just prints. He just paints dot 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 dot, and it's amazing the work. I could never always paint like that, but you can see it's such a valuable way to paint. If you can stand it. Yeah, it's stippling, but it's controlled stippling, like if you do it with an ink pen. Like one of the guys is literally, he's almost more of a dot matrix. Like the way he prints, the way he does his colors. I think the bike I got really good at doing this, like better at doing this, was the Walking Dead bike. Because we did so much of that. I remember I did a Merle. It was one of the first portraits I did, and zombie Merle, and got all that grit in the face with this. And it was so rewarding when it was done. You know, if you use an electric eraser like this, the key to soft is keep it straight. So you're hitting the actual round base of the eraser. If you go to the side, it's really abrupt and sharp. If you use the side of the eraser, like the edge. If you pat straight, you can make really soft, subtle texturing. But if I go to the side, it comes right out, like really abrupt, really sharp. You see that? You can see that dot as soon as I touch it. But if I pat straight, it's much more subtle and soft. You can actually like skate across it too. Just it's almost burnishing it or kind of blushing it. And I did mix some 40-50 into my paint, so the erasability is not as easy, which I like because I'm on metal and I don't want the erasing too abrupt. You can do that too if you want to do some basically like wrinkles in the face. You can just drag it on the edge. Live feed tomorrow. I'll see how tomorrow goes. I'll see what the day ends up like in the evening and look at the schedule. Because I would like to finish this. I just know I'm not going to finish it tonight. And I don't want to rush it just to finish it either. So I think what I'll do tomorrow is I'll pre-cut some of the extra stencils and things to make things go a little faster. And we can get this thing wrapped up tomorrow. That way I don't have to remix the paint either. I can cap these off and I can use these same mixtures. But it was a good start. Yeah, this is illustration colors. This is the Sepia. My brain's losing. I'm getting tired. Yeah, so this is all I've used here is just one airbrush and illustration sepia. That's it. Which is so versatile. Because you can get so much tone out of this one color that you can paint like all day with it and just keep building. We're gonna definitely move tomorrow. I'm gonna start winding down for now. Yeah, I'll look at tomorrow's feeds. I'll make sure that nothing's going, and maybe I'll do a little bit earlier instead of 8 p.m. Maybe I'll do around 7. We'll see. I really want to blur him out too so he gets that pushback. Oh yeah, Gary, I'll post up something during the day. If I'm gonna go tomorrow, I'll definitely post a couple times and make sure everyone knows well ahead of time. if I don't post it like soon enough, I'll just skip it and I'll wait till I can post. You know, give everyone a really nice heads up. Getting there, getting there. We'll treat this like one of Steve's paintings. We'll just keep working this one over a couple feeds. Hi, Mom. I just noticed Mom's on Facebook side. I really wish that Facebook would scroll on its own so I could actually see people.
Yeah, super annoying.
It's really annoying. It just doesn't work well. Now I can't see times either, so I don't know how long people have been on. That's why YouTube is so much better to do the feeds on, because I can actually look back to the chat. I can see when people posted. Let's see. We'll get a little bit of Gerald in here. Soft texture. You know, it's coming along pretty quick. I think another hour, it's a done painting. Yeah, thanks, Blue. I really appreciate it. Yeah, it's come along good. It's one of those paintings I really like where it's at. So I don't think I want to like just push it and make it, you know, just to get it done and make it, you know. It's not. There's no sense rushing it. Yeah, Sepia is a great color to work with. I want to make some nice stencils for the hat, and really, because he's got a cool buckle kind of thing here. In here, I want to research a little bit and get this moisture evaporator looking cool. Maybe I'll put, I think they had either 2 suns or 3 suns on Tatooine, so I got to look at that. Maybe I'll put a couple of them in the background and just make it a really cool illustration. And go from there. Thanks, David. Yeah, it's one of those, and I haven't done a piece like this in a while that was really, like, technical. Like, they're all technical in their own right, but this just had, there's a lot of technique in this one, and a lot of stuff going on. You brought your mom to the feed on. Oh, my mom's always welcome in the feeds, man. Always, always. 2 suns. Thank you. It's 2 suns and 3 moons, if I remember correctly. Alright, kids, we're going to start wrapping this thing up. Thanks, Mr. Leahy. I'm going to call tonight. I'm getting sleepy. Got to do skulls and smoke tomorrow on a bagger and try to get that done. And then we'll plan and see if we can get this back on tomorrow night. Make part 2 and finish this thing up. And then maybe we'll take this down and we'll edit it to a nice, 45-minute hour video on how to. I think it'll be a really nice how-to video. Well, we will keep that bid in suspension, sir. Gary, thank you for that. A little bit more, the higher that goes, it's more motivating. Yeah, so we got London did 250 and Gary just did a 300 bid. So we'll see where this goes once we work more on it. Yeah, we'll make this thing cool. Well, it's already cool, but we'll make it finished and cool. I'll try not to work on it too much while we're not on camera. I might go through and do some of the tedious texturing and get that a little done. I think that is where we're gonna leave it, kids. I think that's the plan. Let's see if I can do this here.
So for the high speed still.
It's at 3 right now. We'll carry that over to part 2. So I want to thank everyone for popping in. Shine customers, you got Travis. Okay, what's going on, Travis? Awesome, thanks, man. Appreciate it. Do you know? I use texture. I'll use them. Mini. I'll use mini and nano. Depends. I'll use all 3 sizes. Honestly, it just depends on the scale of the piece I'm doing. So if I'm working on a small area, I use the nanos. The minis are probably my most used out of the stencils. I probably use the minis more than anything else because they're right in between. Like I've been using the mini on this and this skin texture here. So you're welcome, Blue. Thank you for the super chats. They're really appreciated. And we will see you guys. Yeah, I don't know. I might make these glow. I don't know how it'll look on this sepia. I had that kind of thought. Maybe I'll do a little Photoshop and just see if I like it. But that's definitely on the fence. But I want to thank everyone popping in. Sorry it wasn't a finished painting in 2 hours, but I think we got a really cool head start on this and a really cool process. And you can really see in real time what these paintings take. You know, I can do this video and do it off camera and paint it over the course of a day and edit it down to a 45-minute how-to with some time lapse and things like that. And that shows you the technique, but it very rarely shows you the actual time it takes to do one of these. So we got 2 hours here. I probably got an hour and a half to 2 hours prep into compositing and figuring out what I was going to do and setting everything up, mixing colors, things like that. So that's, you know, a real world thing when you think in a paint like this. If you're doing it for a client or if you're doing it for someone as a business, you got to think of that time, what it takes. So I'm going to say if I do 2 more hours, it's going to have at least 6 to 8 hours into it, if not more. So, and if I was doing it for a client, I probably wouldn't even go as fast. I'd probably go even slower, and maybe do this over the course of a few days, and really noodle on all those little details and little things, and, you know, because it'd be a commission piece. So you always got to keep that in mind. With that in mind, I hope you all have a great evening. I'm going to try to see you guys tomorrow night. So if there's no conflicts, I'll try to do tomorrow night at 8 p.m. If anything changes or to confirm that, I will let you guys know and we'll make it happen. So have a great night, everyone. Peace.